What is up, my friends? Welcome to another edition of the XFL Week in Review. I am your host, Mark Perry from XFL News Hub, and on this week's show, XFL minicamps are in full gear. We're going to keep an eye on some QB battles and some XFL replica jerseys. We'll talk about them being sold out, but then they're back, and so much more. Plus, something that you all have been waiting for is my personal rank of the XFL uniforms. Now we have Zach who also ranked it, so we'll compare and contrast his ranking versus mine. All of this can be found on your wonderful site for all my friends, xflnewshub.com, the number one XFL news site in the universe. That's it. So how do you get in touch with the show? You email podcast@xflnewshub.com with your MP3s, or you call 888-430-7692, extension 3, and cutoff time is 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. And also to remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. So, speaking of reviews, let's take a look at a couple of them, shall we? First up, we have Renegades fan Blake55 gives us 5 stars. Says, so hyped for the XFL. I love the NFL, but it feels slow, so I'm hoped this league is fast-paced. Hope there is a lot of action. This podcast gives me every bit of information from the training camp to the fan experience to the TV deals to I heard the Dallas Cowboys are trying out kickers. And they tried out Dallas Renegades kicker, and so if the Cowboys want to sign him, will it be similar to the Josh Johnson situation in Detroit Lions? Also, what are the reactions, oh my gosh, to the jerseys from worst to best? We'll get into all those. And I haven't heard much about the kicker situation. The kickers, they're not as important as a Josh Johnson quarterback situation. But thank you for the 5 stars. Thomas from Maryland, hometown friend. I love your podcast. Hope to hear your podcast every week. Keep up the good work. Thomas from Maryland, 5 stars. M. Lang, 23, thanks for providing an up-to-date XFL news. 5 stars. Good job. Thank you, sir. 10 out of 10. KJBLOU says, love this podcast. I listen to every episode for new information. Let's go Battlehawks. Gee, I wonder where he's from. Or she's from. I would assume it's he, based on the demographic data. C. Clarkson, 44, says, another 5 stars. Tough to get content on a league that hasn't even had a game yet. Job well done. Keep it up. Looking forward to listening during the season. We are looking forward to all of you guys listening during the season. It's going to be a lot of fun coming up. So this show, we got our rankings, my rankings. We got QB battles, bunch of news stuff, and of course our question of the week, which is who has the best XFL uniform? That's the question for this week. Take a guess. What do you think next week's question is? Who has the worst XFL uniform? Interesting. We'll get into that after we get into the news. At least my ranking, Zach's ranking. You take it or leave it, whatever you want to do. We have that coming up. So remember, you can check me on Dallas Radio, 1160 a.m., KBDT Sports Day with John Clemens, Saturdays and Sundays. And, of course, we are live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on the YouTubes for our podcast. Now, remember, we also have a contest. That's right. The contest is important. This contest is for iTunes review, or if you YouTube subscribe, either one of those things, you'll be entered to win an XFL football of your choice, a value at $125. Now, winner will be announced on the February 4th episode of XFL Week in Review. So that's right. You can win. All you have to do is either leave us a review on iTunes or subscribe, or in actuality, be a tier 1 emailer like our man Nicholas. That's how you enter in to win. So if you, for some reason, don't have iTunes, which I don't because I'm a Samsung Android person, YouTube, if you're not on YouTube either, which is like 5% of the population, but okay. If either one of those, I assume that you also have an email address. So if you have an email, you can be a part of that, be a tier 1 emailer. on our show, and then you can win the ball. And I'm just going to fix this right here live. That's right, fixing the chat room live on the show. So with that, my friends, without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the XFL. First up, one of the things we want to talk about is the QB Minicamp Battles that are taking place to keep an eye on. Our man Matthew wrote this one up. A couple player teams to look out for. Now, there's a lot of them, and I bet you that it's going to be even more heated come January. I have a feeling we're not done with our Tier 1 quarterbacks, my friends. I don't think we're done at all. First up, you guys that are veteran guys that are probably locked in, like Landry Jones, Cardell Jones, and Matt McLaurin. Those guys are probably locked in. Some guys that maybe you want to take a look at is the Houston Roughnecks, Philip Walker, or Connor Cook. Now remember, Philip Walker was the Tier 1 guy. Connor Cook was drafted basically with the second pick in the draft. I don't know. I'm curious as to why that happened. Maybe Connor Cook wanted to leave his options open for the NFL and not sign with the XFL, so he went the route of not being a Tier 1 guy. Not really sure what the deal is with that. So Connor Cook, those are two guys to look out for. That's with your Houston Roughnecks. If you're ever at a mini camp or down at the training camp, that's one to check out as well. And I think this is the biggest one, is the LA Wildcats with Luis Perez versus Josh Johnson. I think this one is going to be a really interesting one. And it's funny because as soon as Josh Johnson was signed by LA, it was like, well, Josh Johnson's going to be the number 1 quarterback. Now, he's older. Luis Perez is a little bit younger. Luis Perez is younger. But I might go with the veteran guy that's done it. I'm really curious about this one. This one is my definite top LA Wildcats QB minicamp battle to look after. Another one is St. Louis Battlehawks, Jordan Ta'amu versus Taylor Heinicke. Ta'amu is young guy. Heinicke's got some experience in the NFL. Not really sure where this one will go. So keep an eye out for Jordan and Taylor for the St. Louis Battlehawks and their battle for who is going to be the starting quarterback. I'm curious if Connor Cook becomes a starting quarterback. Does he get Tier 1 money and Philip Walker loses his? How is that going to work? One thing that our guy Matthew picked up real quick was that former JMU quarterback Vlad Lee joins the DC Defenders. This is without the draft. He was not a Tier 1 guy. He wasn't part of the draft or the supplemental draft. However, I guess as a free agent, the Defenders picked up the JMU and CFL QB Vlad Lee. The Defenders announced that the signing was on via Twitter. Now he joins the room with Cardell Jones and Tyree Jackson, who some people think Tyree Jackson could be a Tier 1 guy in the XFL. Pep Hamilton seems to have refined his quarterback search to one type of player, smart, athletic, and big arm. Vlad Lee fits all of these. He started his career off at Georgia Tech, playing well as a dual threat. Didn't show improvements. Did show some room for improvement in 2 years, but then transferred to JMU, where he moved from the flex bone to the option attack, a more pass-heavy scheme. He showed vast improvements with over 5,000 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, and improved his completion percentage by 30 to 36%. So with him, Vlad Lee, with the Defenders, Cardell Jones, Tyree Jackson, we could have an interesting QB battle, but I still think the clear favorite in DC is Cardell Jones. We have our first retirement in the XFL. Dallas Renegades and former Detroit Lions Ryan Broyles retires. Now, if you remember, this is according to Joseph Hoyt, a reporter for Dallas Morning News, said that he has decided to retire. Quote, Former Oklahoma wide receiver Ryan Broyles has decided to retire and will not be joining the Dallas Renegades, per a team spokesman. The Renegades have the right of first refusal on Broyles if he decides he wants to play. Now, he's had a pretty good life. He was a big-time player with Bob Stoops, thought he was going to come back, teaming back up with his former teammate and current Renegades starting QB Landry Jones. They had big success together. He was selected in the Phase 5 of the draft. He was a two-time consensus All-American, second all-time in career reception yards in the NCAA, and he had a promising NFL career, but that was cut short. But he is 31 years old and last played in 2014 for the Detroit Lions. And since his time with Detroit, he has worked as a real estate developer in Norman, Oklahoma area, so he's done pretty well for himself. Guess he kind of was like, I'm in, but then I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good things on the side. No need to go through that punishment, put my body through it. It's a shame because it would be really interesting to see those two guys team up again one more time under Bob Stoops. Ryan Broyles, kind of our first retiree, but not really because he didn't really play at all or didn't even come to camp yet. So within hours that the XFL released their replica jerseys, now you can get them for $79.99, really within 24 hours, a quick view of shop.xfl.com showed me that they were all sold out. Now, the league announced the replica jerseys were available around noon Eastern time, and when I checked at 4 p.m. the same day, or noon that day, so the next day, about 24 hours later, there was hardly any left. Now, we have been checking on this every once in a while. Now, we have a picture on XFL News Hub of them all sold out on the 5th of December at 9 a.m. However, if you keep going back to the site and just check every couple days, the replica jerseys keep coming back, but they keep being sold out pretty quickly. You go check out the site in the morning and then look again later. All the larges might be gone. Maybe there'll be some scattered smalls. But these guys are selling like hotcakes. So with all the talking heads around the NFL and sports talk questioning if the XFL is a viable league, you hear them whine about that. I don't know. Well, the fact that jerseys sold out within hours is a pretty good sign. Fan interest in spring football is real. Now remember, one of those things, if you do get a jersey, the expected ship date is December 13th. The replica jerseys are $79.99 for adults, $74.99 for youth. If you want the authentic jerseys, those are $225. Yes, $225. They go on sale the 17th. Really curious to see how that goes. If they sell out really quickly at a high price, I think people want them. I know people, once they talked about the XFL coming back, people wanted the old jerseys. They have to, 10 years from now, go back and just do a one-time shot of the replica jerseys. I know they're not going to touch the old, between the cheerleaders and Vince and the WWE and the old teams. But, man, I'm telling you, just one-time shot. Would love to get me a Hitmen's jersey. So if you're a fan and you're interested in a custom XFL jersey with the name on it and a number of your choice, you have to wait. Those are only available customized jerseys during games at the stadium. So you get your ticket, you go in, you hang out, you pay for your shirt. I don't know, I would assume they ship it to you. I don't know what the deal is with that, but that's going to happen at the stadiums. So if you want your name, Jabroni, Mike, Steve, whatever, your last name, Jabron, 69, if you want to do, or Ron Mexico, there's a reference to Michael Vick. You'll have to Google it. Then you can do that. And you can have your very own custom XFL jersey. Couple coaching staff hires. The Roughnecks added Dennis McKnight and Robert Lyles to their staff. So last week, June Jones, of course, he's the head coach of the Houston Roughnecks, and he's a former CFL head coach, was at the Hamilton Tiger Cats with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He attended the Grey Cup. If you don't know what that is, that's the CFL championship game. Now, by the way, for you CFL fans out there, and I thought about us covering the CFL at some point because we are XFL News Hub. I don't know. We'll stick with the XFL. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers beat the Tiger Cats 33-12, if you were wondering. But then there's like the whole, like they only do 3 downs or something. And I was like, I don't know about that. Farhan Lalji, quote, Dennis McKnight has accepted an offer to join June Jones' staff in Houston. Special teams coordinator Jeff Reinhold has also been offered a job. Now, Reinbold actually declined. He signed an extension with the Hamilton Tiger Cats and won't be joining. But later on, Mark Berman reported that the Roughnecks hired former Houston Oilers linebacker Robert Lyles, and he will be now the special teams coordinator. That's what he said, basically. Lyles played 8 seasons in the NFL at linebacker for the Houston Oilers. Interesting to note with the Oilers and Atlanta Falcons, at both stops with the Oilers and Falcons in the 80s and 90s, he crossed paths with Roughnecks head coach June Jones. Jones was the Houston's quarterback coach in 87 and 88 and the Atlanta's offensive coordinator in 91. We're not sure what McKnight's role at this time is. He was offensive line coach for that Tiger Cat, so maybe that's his role. But we will find out more about that later. So I'm sure some of you guys might be a fan of Saturday Night Live. I am. I've had friends that like still religiously will check out Saturday Night Live every weekend. I'm not that, and I used to kind of be a fan, but I follow it, watch some clips every once in a while. This past Saturday, Saturday Night Live took a little shot at your friends in the XFL. Here we go. Take a little listen to this one.
XFL has unveiled its new uniforms for the league's upcoming season, and at the same time, they'll be shipping them directly to Haiti.
So there you have it. If you didn't hear that, the XFL unveiled its uniforms for the upcoming season. At the same time, they will be shipping them directly to Haiti. Now, that was funny. I'll give you that. That was funny. Now, what are they referencing there? Maybe you're kind of confused. Well, so what happens is when there's a Super Bowl, they make shirts for both championship teams. And those shirts, they have to make them both because people want to buy championship gear as soon as it's over. The problem is, what do you do with the teams that lost the Super Bowl? So, for example, last year, the St. Louis Rams lost to the New England Patriots. Boo. But there are Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams t-shirts out there. So what the NFL does is they ship those overseas to kind of third world countries. And I think they give them away, or maybe they sell them. I don't know. I have a feeling I think they give them away, just boxes and boxes of them, because they don't want them to appear here in the United States. Even though I would try to get my hands on them just for fun. That's where the reference to Haiti comes from. So, but the XFL, not to be outdone, they capitalized on this little clip from Saturday Night Live. This is from the XFL Twitter. Quote, at NBC SNL, thanks for the shout out last night. We don't ship to Haiti, but if you want us to send a couple Guardians jerseys over, let us know. With a little wink. Well played, XFL. I would have done that too. Send them over some uniform, definitely some Guardians uniforms, and they'll be happy. All right, friends, we're going to take a commercial break. Then when we come back, you will have we got your social media stuff, plus we have all of the rankings of the XFL uniform by yours truly. So stay tuned.
What's up, XFL Army? If you're a fan of the XFL News Hub and you have a telephone, which I know all of you do because you're sitting there playing on your phones all the time, then why not download the XFL News Hub app? That's right, it's on iTunes. It's on Android. We have an Android version and an iPhone version of the XFL News Hub app. So what do you get? You get the latest news from XFL News Hub, the premier source of XFL news in the universe. Plus, you get push notifications when we have breaking news. You will be the first to know. You can leave a comment on some of the news right from your phone. Plus, you get this podcast on your phone as well. Remember, you can leave us reviews on the Google Play Store or iTunes. It links to other social media, our other social media accounts, and so much more. Be in the know. I know you're on your phones. People are on their phones all the time. They never get off their phones. So why not just download the XFL News Hub app on your Android or iPhone today? All you need to do is go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and just type in XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Download our app on your phone today.
Very, very, very interesting there. Download the app today. Very forceful on my part, I must say. All right, let's quickly check out our chat room, our friends over at the chat room. Richard Humphrey says, I listen to the show every Tuesday, but I still need a favorite team. It's so hard. I've told you people this. If you don't have a team, it's the DC Defenders because it's DC, that's America's team. As a secondary team, depends on where you live. So if you're East Coast, DC Defenders. If you're a beachy kind of guy, you might want to go with the Vipers. If you're somebody like to root for the underdog, as St. Louis finally gets a team back and they got cool helmets, maybe that's your team. If you're a California guy, beachy West Coast person, you can do LA. If you're a Texas Southern person, type of person, then maybe you want to do one of the Texas teams. And if you like rain, then you'll do Seattle. And coffee. Maybe you like coffee, and that's your team. So that's how you should do it. True American says XFL Championship should be held in San Antonio. One of the guys was saying somewhere on these chats with us that the idea was that it was going to rotate for each city that hosts the XFL. Somebody told me that somewhere. So I'm hoping it's Tampa this year. Let's go to Florida, man. Florida, I have a feeling if they're going to do a championship game, I think they might do it in Dallas. If I would just throw it out there. That brand new stadium, Texas, they already did the Houston deal with the training camp. We'll see. Rangers King 669 says, I think Cook went through the draft because he was late addition to the pool and they already had Walker. Possibly. I think like every other player, the tier 1 salary will be given to the designated starter for each game, or at least that's what makes sense. That's true. I don't know, though. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm going to ask. That's a great question. I'm going to ask that. I'll be around some XFL people. Rumor has it, my friends, for all you DC Defenders fans and in the area, College Park Saturday. Stay tuned to XFL News Hub. They might be having a fan event. Just throwing it out there. It's this Saturday, but actually I think it's just for season ticket holders only. So if you're a season ticket holder like myself, I will see you in College Park. Allegedly. Just throwing it out there. Let's see here. Sure, Doubleoon 90 says, watching from the UK, go Wildcats. See, he's not from the US and he's picking the Wildcats. Eugene says, New York Guardians. Oh, Richard says, I live in Atlanta, DC. DC Defenders done. That's it. That's all you need to know. Okay, now that we checked in with chat room, let's talk about uniforms. Now, everybody has a little difference of opinion when it comes to uniforms. Okay? Zach Schrum over at XFL News Hub, one of our top writers, ranked uniforms and helmet rankings from worst to best. He kind of gave the full Monty, if you will. Now, his ranking are as follows. Number 8, the DC Defenders. Number 7, St. Louis Battlehawks. 6, Tampa Bay Vipers. 5, he had New York Guardians. 4, Dallas Renegades. 3, Seattle Dragons. 2, Houston Roughnecks. And number 1, the Los Angeles Wildcats. And I was going to read his out, and I'm like, but I kind of disagree with that assessment. So, what you really want to hear is who are my teams that should be my rankings, we should say. of the XFL uniforms. So I have at number 8, the Tampa Bay Vipers. It's the green color, man. Just doesn't do it for me. Now, it's like I kind of like, I like the logo. It's the green and yellow. Like lawn company green or something. I don't mind the away uniforms. It has the white in it. But it's, again, I need to see all this stuff in action and on the field. But I think as the green and the two shades of green and the yellow, the Tampa Bay Vipers, I have at number 8. Number 7, I have the DC Defenders there. So we had them ranked low. Just because it's just, red is just kind of boring. The white uniforms and the red are okay. And I'm a DC Defenders fan. I'm just not I know like the Capitals are red, and maybe that's where the color from. You could have gone red, white, and blue, and I would have been happy with that. I'm just not feeling, just the red and white just kind of didn't do it for me. But I knew once I saw the logo, I knew that this was going to be, and it's still my team. Still my team. Don't worry about that. I'm still a season ticket holder. Number 6, I'm going with the Wildcats. Now, here's the interesting thing. Zach, his number 1 was the Wildcats. My number 6 is the Wildcats. Now, why is that? The away uniforms with the orange and white. I like the helmet. I think the helmet's cool. But it's that red and black with the orange. Just kind of not there. I like the black uniforms. I'd rather have a black uniform than a red one. But that red and the black and the orange just kind of wasn't doing it for me. Again, and I don't know anything about style. My wife dresses me. She buys all my clothes. So really, this means absolutely nothing. But it's just my opinion. Number 5, Houston Roughnecks. Why? Because it's the Patriots colors, and I hate the Patriots. That's pretty much why. But, I would have thought that this may have been more of the DC Defenders colors, because you got the red, white, and the gray. And the one thing with the Houston Roughnecks, not a fan of the gray and blue away jerseys. Not a big fan, but I'm going number 5, Houston Roughnecks. And really part of the problem is because it reminds me of the Patriots, and I don't like the Patriots. Number 4, hands down, the best helmet of them all with the best logo. I like the colors. I'm blue, black, gray. You're talking your St. Louis Battlehawks. I like them. That could be another team. We've talked about that. I like the blue and the white as well with the Battlehawks. That's my number 4. And Zach had the Battlehawks as his number 7. He had the Battlehawks at 7. I have the Battlehawks at 4. Because that's just the way, I don't know. That's the way it is. All right, my number 3. Seattle Dragons. Like the colors, like the green and orange. I like the away uniforms. I like the helmet with the orange stripe down the middle and the cool looking dragon on the side. I'm all about that. And it's a unique look. And here's the funny thing. Who else had number 3 as the Seattle Dragons? Zach, we finally agreed on one. Number 3, Seattle Dragons. I'm with him on that as a number 3. I like the home jerseys. They're unique with the orange and the blue. And I like the away jerseys as well. Your number 2 jersey, uniform, I should say, is your Dallas Renegades. Now, he had Dallas Renegades slightly different. He had them at number 4. And you should definitely check out his article because he talks about Madden 12, create a jersey setting, is essentially where you can make your own Dallas Renegades jersey. Very similar. So he had him at number 4. I have him at number 2. I like the blue. I like the logo. I like this little red stripe on the shoulder pads. The black works well with the blue, and then the white looks great too with the red stripe. I'm really liking the Renegades one. That is one of my favorite ones. I really like that uniform. And the number 1 uniform of them all is your New York Guardians. Love it. The black, the white with the gray, the logo on the side. Even the gray uniforms. I like the gray away uniforms with the red accent color. I'm all about the Guardians. And Zach had him at number 5. I have him at number 1. Your New York Guardians. Those are my picks for my favorite uniforms so far. But honestly, really when it comes down to it, I just want to say that they all look. I like them all, really. I mean, if anyone I would say I really might dislike would be Tampa. But other than that, but it's even not that bad. I need to see it on the field. I need to see it in action. I need to see it live and in person. I need to see DC Defenders jersey and uniform live in person before I really make a judgment. But this is just me checking out. Now, listen to me. Let me tell you something. I do a lot of web stuff all the time. We make logos. I got people to make logos for us. And I always ask other people, and I'll pick the logo. I'm like, this is my favorite logo out of the 6. No one ever picks the one I do. Everybody picks something completely different. That's just the way it is. So I don't have this big eye for fashion or logos or whatever, but I thought it was good. They're all good. And this is the other interesting part, is that there wasn't a lot of haters out there like they were with the names. Oh my gosh, we were just prepared. We were waiting for, and I didn't see it, but we were prepared to see, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to jump off a building because the uniforms are so bad. This team sucks. The XFL sucks. I suck. You suck. We all suck. Everything sucks. We didn't see any of that. For the most part, the reviews of the uniforms went pretty well. All right, let's get to our social media stuff. Let's see what you guys think about the uniforms and all the other fun that's going on with our friends in the XFL world. On the Facebooks, we'll hit that first. A lot of reaction. We asked, what do you think of the uniform? Zach says, best uniform is St. Louis Battlehawks. I know it sounds biased coming from a season ticket holder, but it's not at all. All the uniforms were done great, superior, used. Why the LA Las Vegas Wildcats have LA printed on their stuff, LOL. Oh, he's thinking they're moving to Vegas already. No. There is one uniform that I like a lot less than any of the other 7. Stay tuned next week to find out. All right, Zach. He's going to leave us a review. See what they think for next week. Sundara says they all look amazing. Can't wait for the XFL season to start. I'm with you. Christopher, they all look awesome. Well done. Sean, Battlehawks are the best. Battlehawks were on my list at number 4. Corey says they're all really unique and none of them look the same like those AAF ones. Yes, the AAF uniforms sucked. There was no uniqueness. It was like, oh, we bought them at the store and stick them on everybody. Here's what he's got. You're able to tell the difference between teams when they play against each other, but here are my rankings. Number 1, Battlehawks, 2 Guardians. Got number 2, 3 Dragons. Everybody's going 3 Dragons. Renegades, 4 Wildcats. Defenders, Roughnecks. Vipers at number 8. I like that list. Alphonse says LA should have inverted the red And the orange, red numbers and orange trim instead of the orange numbers and red trim. Interesting. The contrast between the black and orange looks better than the black and red, so orange should have been more dominant. Interesting. Interesting there. All right, let's see. About our recaps, Josh says, here we go again. Before LA Extreme Coliseum, The Rock was there. Josh apparently was there when it comes to the XFL stuff. On to some other ones. Oh, we put out the question of the week. Who has the best uniforms? The best. All we're asking for is the best, not your rankings, the best. Ken says LA. Patrick, I would have to say Dragons. Christopher, Dallas Renegades. Also says Houston Roughneck, especially the away uniforms. Corey, Battlehawks have the most unique helmets and uniform accents them very well. DC Defenders are just a little too basic for me. I'm kind of with you. Zach, best uniform, Battlehawks. I know it sounds biased. Season ticket holder. Sundra, all of the above because all the uniforms are custom made for XFL by a subdivision of Adidas, which I like. Aaron says, I like the Battlehawks, a little biased. Guardians are cool too. See, this is, Guardians, yes. Guardians are cool too. Luis says, Battlehawks, Renegades. Paul, Battlehawks. I think they're all pretty cool. Derek. Eric says, Dallas. No question, Renegades. Jeff, checking in on those. So you could kind of see a little consensus going on there for these uniforms. On to the Twitters. Twitter is getting really hard to sift through. I get so many messages on the Twitters. It's hard for me to filter through everything for you fans to just read a couple good ones out there. So if I miss some, let's see. Dan Rupert says, I love the people who are behind this league. St. Louis should have decided to pay for a new stadium, but alas, we are where we are. Talking about the Dome. Max getting into a conversation about the Dome. Let's see. Justin Berenzin says XFL is already better than the AAF. They have better plan in place, and the AAF was a success for players to get more shots in the NFL roster. It's interesting what the NFL will do because of the XFL. Good point there. Totally with you on that. I Am Prolific says, I really think it's a detriment to mention the NFL for any reason. We had an article about the NFL, what the NFL could learn from the XFL, could show the NFL. And that was Mike Mitchell article, How the XFL Can Change the NFL, a breakdown of the facts. That was by our new writer, Mike Mitchell, which we were super excited about having him on with XFL News Hub. Let's see. I Am Prolific says XFL should conduct themselves as if they are the only pro football league. That's why I love the USFL, because they acted like they were the NFL. They marketed like they were the place to be. Well, XFL is definitely the place to be. 2020 hindsight, I think that's where the XFL is headed. The point of the article is how the XFL being original and doing its own thing can make the NFL follow suit. Same way it happened with the original XFL and, as you mentioned, the USFL. Hindsight 2020. Let's see what else. James, everyone is so negative about this league. If you love football, you should love more of it in the NFL offseason. Most of these guys didn't get a chance in the NFL, so this is a great way to show their skills. Don't hate because it's new. There you go. Chuck saying something about the haters in the world of the XFL. People are just hating because they're just weirdos. The XFL chick says New York Guardians likes that uniform. The black and the red highlights are a slick and sharp look. Totally agree with you there. I'm with the Guardians. Steve, I honestly think the XFL hit a grand slam with the unis. That said, the Dragons have the best. The helmets alone give it them. Absolutely love the Guardians too. I'm with you there. Those are my two favorites, with the Dragons being number one. Everybody can figure out the rest because, like I say, I love them. Colin Thompson says the Vipers. He's going with the Vipers as his favorite. All right. If that's your favorite, not my favorite. Let's go to some more social media stuff. Let's check out our comment section real quick. And the YouTubes, Tyler says, I'm excited. Caleb says, I don't care about Dallas. I wish it was in North Carolina style jersey. I don't know about Dallas. I wish it was a North Carolina style jersey. Talking about the uniforms. Gilberto says they're ready. You can get them now. He says, Fear the Bull 21 says, do you have like an ASMR mic? Because I can hear everything. I'm probably hearing kids talking or dogs barking. I don't know what. Joshua _ 31604 says, I want that XFL ball badly. Sean says, I want the Renegades ball. Me too. And Red Edwards, I think Gilbert now is the number 3 quarterback for the Browns. Needs to play in the XFL. He was a starter in the AAF. Okay. There you have that. Let's see. Let's go to Instagram real quick about our best uniforms. Let's see what we got here. NY Guardian says, everyone loves the Guardians uniform, but I am not big on it, as are other people's. I love the Defenders jerseys. Oh. Really? Simple, clean, and the red makes it stand out from the rest. Okay. A Guardians guy. Interesting. Ryan _ Lablasi says Vipers. Okay. Burning Grape 2, Guardians. Real _ PC Wiz, top right. I love the green. He likes the Tampa Bay. Uncle Luke 2019, Guardians. Original clone Battlehawks. And ain't close. The helmet is next level. I agree with you there. America Guy 1776 goes with Dallas. All right. We have, on today's show, let's see, we hit everything. We have a phone call. So let's check out our phone call from this week.
Yes. I was just thinking, hey, it's Chris. I was just thinking that, if you could bring back the AAF and merge with the XFL possibly after this year, if they're successful, then I think that would be a good thing to see those AAF teams back. And also, I think it'd be a great thing for the XFL because it will bring in a lot more revenue. Let me know what you think. All right, bye.
All right, thanks for the phone call, Chris. He's on the line, 888-430-7692, extension 3. This AAF thing is not going to happen. They're not going to bring back anything the AAF. I mean, Vince did buy WCW. But those markets, like we've said, they're going to do San Diego. They'll hit other markets before they go any kind of AAF market. And you're not going to see that for another. Maybe you might see expansion after year 3. That's it. Yeah, maybe. It depends on what the TV networks. Actually, after year 2, if the TV networks like we could eat this stuff up, we want more of it, then you'll see a big expansion. And maybe Vince acquires the AAF properties and just to be like, I just crushed WCW and I crushed AAF, which he's Vince McMahon. He could do that. All right, on to the emails. Thanks for calling in, Chris. On to the emails. Jamal says, this might be long. I'm going to try to keep it short. Okay. Hey, Mark, love the show. Wish it was at least 1 hour long, plus long. I think the show might be too long. I was a little worried about it. It's too long. He says, I'm from Nebraska. Follow no CFB college football. Just started watching it. I know Nebraska pro teams I follow from Colorado. Huge Donkeys, a.k.a. Broncos fan. Big wrestling fan. I think you do a podcast on it, so I'm going to check it out. I used to do a podcast on pro wrestling. You can check out our sister site, Pro Wrestling News Hub, if you'd like to see what we're up to when it comes to pro wrestling. But we are all AEW right now. All AEW. And he says, I did a random roll of teams to root for, and my first pick was the Roughnecks. Second was New York Guardians, so at Roughnecks it is. He picked his team. I've been following this Rebirth XFL for a while, and why do people on Twitter, Reddit, and other sites hate the name jersey? They say it sucks, looks like other teams, etc., and they want it to fail. Example, the Iowa football team jersey looks like the Steelers. There is a college football team with the 49ers name, Seahawks, that have that neon uniform. What gives? Side note, who is your favorite wrestler now? Those are good questions. All good questions. Yeah, people are, I don't know, man. There's just some sheep out there. There's lots of trolls on the internet. Been doing this game for a while on the internet, whether it's pro wrestling site or now XFL site. I'm used to it. There's trolls out there. Ignore them. They just want to get a reaction. But most of the fans have been great. XFL fans are a lot smarter. But yeah, I mean, there are other teams' uniforms look like other ones, so stop complaining. Who is your favorite wrestler now? Oh, MJF from AEW, by far. MJF, AEW, he is the best. He's the best person on the mic, I think, of all time. And he's really young. He's from Long Island, like myself. MJF is the guy in pro wrestling right now. Just telling you that. Jamal also says, when is the XFL app coming out? You guys scooped on that. Yes, of course you saw the commercial. We were the first to have an XFL. Now ours is just based on news. I haven't heard anything about an XFL app. Will they launch something? I mean, NFL has a native app. Maybe this year. Probably next year. I don't know if it's really high on their radar. I remember it was like the AAF was like, oh, well, their app is like this incredible thing and it's worth millions of dollars. It's like, what? No, it's not. As a software developer, and we've talked about it on the podcast, like, no, it has nothing to do with that. People non-technical answering questions about stuff that they just shouldn't. Dallas Nostromo. Hey, is that the same guy that left us the review? My favorite uniform was Houston. Least favorite was LA's. However, I do applaud LA for their willingness to hire colorblind people to design it. Oh, that's right. Dallas just said, however, I do applaud LA for their willingness to hire colorblind people to design the LA Wildcats uniform. Ouch. And of course, he's a Dallas fan. Dallas hating on LA already. I like it. I like the rivalries. This is good stuff. Max checking in. He says, an interesting thought. Max had a great article, 2 great articles for us on XFL News Hub. You want to check those out. He says, an interesting thought. Love it. Could some XFL teams innovate a screen triple RPO now with the double forward pass behind the line of scrimmage rule? Let's say in Tampa, for example, where Quentin Flowers gets put in at wide receiver or running back and Aaron Murray is QB, you could run an RPO with a handoff read, and then if the ball is kept by Murray, have Flowers screen either just behind the line of scrimmage at wide receiver or slip screen at the running back. Then if Murray decides to throw it to Flowers, Flowers could decide whether to throw it upfield or run it depending on how the defense looks, whether they look to go for him or there is space upfield, or if he has space in front of him, he can just run it himself. Meanwhile, if Murray keeps it without hitting Flowers, he can just read the defense and find the open man if there is one, or scramble out if there is no other good option. I admit, I have no idea how hard this is to actually pull off, but it would be cool to see it on practice if a team could get enough cohesion to pull it off. What do you think? Max checking in. He's between his article and this, Max is in as a tier 1 emailer. I just want to point out, because this is a great question. We haven't seen the official rule book yet. Of course, Mike Mitchell is reporting that that's going to come out next week. Maybe we'll have an update from him on that. I would be curious if these plays are going to get pulled off. I'm a little worried about how the defenses are going to handle all the advantage to the offense. I mean, I understand you want to score in games, but I don't want to see a football game where it's 60 to 40, like in the Arena Football. Clearly, that didn't help the Arena Football League much. having high-scoring games and defense that you couldn't stop anything. I appreciate a good defensive stop, turnover, fourth down, punt return. So let's not. I'm really curious, and they've tested this, thank goodness, and they've tested this a lot of what they're going to do when it comes to the rules, because I'm hoping that the product will work. Part of me, I fear, is that the product doesn't work because they have all these trick plays, and people are like, I don't like it. You know how people are. We've talked about them a lot on this show. Let's see here. Kyle checking in says, Colorado, baby. Huge support for the XFL. It has been my dream to support an upcoming league that only supports athletes and which didn't make it in the NFL, but trains them to even be better. If you guys ever give Colorado a run at a team, I'd be 100% in. And if you need a name suggestion, again, I think he thinks we're the XFL, but I'll take it. The Denver Recluse would be it. The brown recluse, a spider, said to not be native to Colorado, yet year after year bites and deaths accrue to its venomous blow. That's interesting. Have they only hid themselves from habitual discovery? Do brown recluse consider Colorado a home? They can now. Scientists rule that specimens have only been brought to the state, but now they can represent it. Just a pitch. Interesting idea for a team name. A venomous spider that kills people. I'm all right with that. And finally, our Tier 1 emailer. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. Oh, we'll get to the chat room in a second. Our Tier 1 emailer, Nicholas, checking in. I love the XFL uniforms, but I had to rank them from best to first. This would be my order. Well, let's go with the reverse, because this is what we've been doing. So he has number 8, Vipers. We're with you there. Number 7, Defenders. We're with you there. He has number 6, the New York Guardians. We have him number 1. 5, Roughnecks. Let's see. 5. R5 was, I'm checking it. R5 was the Roughnecks as well. 4, Renegades. We had the Battlehawks. He has 3 Battlehawks. 2, Wildcats, which we had at 6. And number 1, Dragons, which we had at number 3. Also this week, I love how the XFL responded to SNL. That's how you make lemonade out of lemons. I love it. I love how much preparation the XFL 2020 is putting into the season. Just look at the conditioning of players doing it right now. This should translate into some great football. Yes, speaking of players training, we have video from the XFL about players training, and they are putting in their work. They're putting in the conditioning, making it happen in the XFL this whole week at these mini camps. Anyway, the players have translated great football on the field, and they will help the league grow. Let's go, XFL 2020. Yes, it has been so much fun to watch all of the training that's going on in the XFL. And now we're basically a week away from the XFL. We got about one more week left before the XFL closes shop, and then we go into January. Real quick, hitting the chat room. Red Skin King 669 XFL rulebook coming next week. We heard that from our guy Mike Mitchell. We'll get more on that. Sure do balloon. Luis Perez or Josh Johnson? Going with Josh Johnson. Let's see. Sure the balloon DC should be number 1. No, I'm not following DC. Let's see what else. I can get no subs. Hey guys, I'm here. Okay, that's great. We need a new camera angles for XFL. AAF tried and failed with their weird spider cams. Rangers King 669. I think teams can defend that RPO because you have to keep in mind if the ball isn't held onto, there's only so much time for the QB to read the field before pressure can get to them. Totally agree with that as well. He's right on that point. So that is it for this week's show. Thanks for everybody for checking in. I hope it's not too long. I was thinking about making it shorter, but that's not working. So if you want to be part of the show, you can email us, podcast at xflnewshub.com or call 888-430-7692 extension 3. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube's all XFL News Hub. Make sure you subscribe to be part of the content. Subscribe and give us a like. Leave a comment. We'll always read the comments next week. So if you want to leave a comment on this week's show, that's fine too. Remember our question, who has the worst uniforms? I think I know where this is headed. We'll see what people have to say about that. Plus, remember, you got us on Android. You got us on Google Play on the iPhone app. Remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. Plus, that enters you into win the cool XFL football. And you can listen to this podcast. If you miss out on the YouTubes, you can subscribe. Just head over to xflnewshub.com/XFL-podcast for show notes on this and to subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel, whatever you need to do. Friends, that's it for me, folks. Thanks for listening. Mahalo to everyone out there. That's it for me, folks, and I will see you all, what do we call it? Later.